There are on the palace moat slender waists like willows dancing in the wind. On the broad boulevard there may be one who is capped and sashed, who, elaborately dressed, mounts a 5-horse chariot. At a secluded spot there may be one holding bow and arrows, who, pushing through fog and clouds, would pierce a pair of hawks. Alleys of flowers and willows, towers of pipes and strings. Spring breeze hears no lighter than at Luoyang Bridge. Our scripture-seeking elder recalls the Tang court and his bowels almost burst. Our disciples, flanking their master, rest in a post house and lose their souls in dreams. There was no end to the sight of such fine scenery at the precious image kingdom. Master and disciples, the 3 of them, brought the luggage and the horse to a post house and rested. Afterwards, the Tang monk walked to the gate of the court and said to the gate official, "A priest from the Tang court has arrived to seek an audience with the throne and to have my travel rescript certified. Please make this report for me." The custodian of the yellow gate hurried inside and went before the white jade steps to say, "Your Majesty, there is an illustrious monk from the Tang court who wishes to have an audience with you in order to have his travel rescript certified." When the king heard that an illustrious monk had arrived from such a great nation as the Tang, he was very pleased and consented at once. "Summon him to come in," he said. When Tripitaka was summoned before the golden steps, he went through an elaborate court ceremony to pay homage to the ruler. None of the civil and military officials lining up on both sides of the court could refrain from saying, "Truly a man from a noble nation. What exquisite manners." The king said, "Elder, why did you come to our kingdom?" "This humble monk," said Tripitaka, "is a Buddhist from the Tang court. I have received the decree of my emperor to go to acquire scriptures in the West. The travel rescript that I originally received should be certified once I arrive at the kingdom of your Majesty. This is the reason why I dare intrude upon your dragon presence. If you have the rescript from the Tang Son of Heaven," said the king, "bring it up here for me to look at." Presenting it with both hands, Tripitaka placed the document on the imperial desk and unfolded it. The rescript says, "The travel rescript of the Tang Son of Heaven, who succeeds under the guidance of heaven to the throne of the great Tang Empire in the South Jambudvipa continent. Though we humbly acknowledge our poor display of virtue, we are the lawful descendant of a great heritage. In the service to the gods and the government of men, we try to be vigilant night and day, as if we were approaching a deep abyss or walking on thin ice. Some time ago, we failed to save the life of the old dragon of Jing River, for which we were chastised by the Most High August 1. Our soul and spirit, drifting to the region of darkness, had already become a guest of impermanence. Because our allotted age was not yet exhausted, however, we were indebted to the ruler of darkness, who released us and returned us to life. Thereafter, we convened a grand mass and established the ritual field for the dead. It was at this time also that the one who saves from afflictions, the Bodhisattva Guanxian, revealed to us her golden form, and enlightened us with the knowledge that the West had both Buddha and scriptures, able to redeem the dead and deliver the orphan spirits. For this reason we now commission Shenzhen, Master of the Law, to traverse 1,000 mountains in order to acquire such scriptures. When he reaches the many nations of the West, it is our hope that they will not extinguish the goodly affinity and allow him to pass through because of this rescript. This is a necessary to be sent document. An auspicious day in the autumn of the 13th year, in the Zhenguan period of the Great Tang. An imperial document. There were also the marks of 9 precious seals on it. When the king read it, he took the jade seal of his own nation and stamped it before handing it back to Tripitaka. After he thanked the king and put away the travel rescript, Tripitaka said, "This humble priest came first of all to have the document certified, and secondly to present to your Majesty a family letter." Delighted, the king said, "What kind of family letter, Your Majesty?" said Tripitaka. The 3rd princess was kidnapped by the yellow-robe fiend of the current moon cave at the Casserole Mountain. This humble priest met her by chance, and it was she who asked me to send you this letter." When the king heard this, his eyes brimmed with tears. 13 years ago," he said, "we lost our princess. For that, we banished countless officials, both civil and military, and we did not know how many ladies-in-waiting and eunuchs we had caned to death throughout the palace. For we thought that she had walked out of the palace and lost her way. Since we did not know where to look, we interrogated countless households in the city, but there was not a trace of her. How would we know that a monster had kidnapped her? When I received this word today, I cannot hold back my grief or tears." Thereupon Tripitaka took out the letter from his sleeve and presented it. When the king took it and saw the address on the envelope, his hands turned feeble and could not open the letter. He therefore gave the order to have the Grand Secretary of the Hiling Academy come before the throne and read the letter. The Grand Secretary ascended the steps as all the civil and military officials before the court and all the imperial concubines and palace ladies behind the court listened attentively. Opening the letter, the Grand Secretary began to read. "The unfilial daughter, 100 Flowers Shame, touches her head to the ground 100 times before the Dragon Phoenix Palace to honor Father King of the highest virtue. Long may he live. I bow also before the Bright Sun Palace to my Queen Mother, Queen of the Three Palaces, and to all worthy ministers, both civil and military, of the entire court. Ever since it was my good fortune to have been born into the Queen's palace, I have been indebted to you for the countless acts of grievous labor you undertook on my behalf. I regret that I have not done the utmost to please you, nor have I discharged with all my strength my filial duties. It was on the 15th day of the 8th month 13 years ago that Father King, on that lovely evening and auspicious occasion, gave his gracious command for banquets to be prepared in the several palaces so that we might enjoy the moonlight and celebrate the glorious festival of immaculate heavens. During the moment of festivity, a sudden gust of fragrant wind brought forward a demon king with golden pupils, indigo face, and green hair, who took hold of your daughter. Mounting the auspicious luminosity, he carried me away directly to an uninhabited region midway in the mountain, and absolutely forbade me to leave. He exploited his fiendish power and forced me to become his wife. I had no alternative but to suffer such ignominy for these 13 years. 2 monster children were born to me, all seeds of this fiend. To speak of this, in fact, is to corrupt the great human relations and to pervert our morals. I should not, therefore, send you such an offensive and insulting letter, but I fear that there would be no explanation should your daughter pass away. As I was thinking of my parents with deep sorrow, I learned that a holy monk from the Tang court was also taken captive by the Demon King. It was then that your daughter wrote this letter in tears and made bold to obtain release for the priest, so that he might deliver this small document as an expression of my heart. I beg Father King in his compassion to send his noble generals quickly to capture the yellow-robe fiend at the current moon cave of the Casserole Mountain and bring your daughter back to the court. Yours will be the deepest favor to me. Please pardon my disrespect in writing this letter in haste, and whatever has not been said, I hope to tell you face to face. Your disobedient daughter, 100 Flowers Shame, kowtows again and again." When the Grand Secretary finished reading the letter, the king burst into loud wailing. All the 3 palaces shed tears, and the various officials were also overborne by grief. After the king had wept for a long time, he asked the 2 rows of civil and military officials, "Who dares lead the troops and captains to capture the monster for us and rescue our 100 Flowers princess?" He asked the question several times, but there was not a single person courageous enough to respond. Like generals carved out of wood and ministers molded with clay, they all turned dumb. Sorely distressed, the king wept till tears streamed down his face, whereupon many officials prostrated themselves and memorialized, saying, "Your Majesty, we beseech you to desist from your sorrow. The princess was lost, and for 13 years there had been no news from her. Although she met by chance the holy monk from the Tang court, so that she was able to send us this letter, we are still not fully informed about her situation. Moreover, your subjects are merely mortal creatures. We have studied military manuals and tactics, of course, but our knowledge is limited to placing troops in formations and pitching camps in order to protect the frontiers of our nation from any invasion. The monster spirit, however, is someone who comes by the fog and goes with the clouds. Unless we could meet him face to face, how could we attack him and rescue the princess? The scripture pilgrim from the land of the east is, we believe, a holy monk from a noble nation. As a priest, whose vast power tames dragons and tigers, whose great virtue awes demons and gods. He must know the art of subduing monsters. As the proverb says, he who comes and tells of some affair is himself involved in that affair.